Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Here because, we must call it as we see it. We must stop, pause, take notice, and actually think, are we really focusing on what's really happening around us? Are we truly focusing on what's happening around us? You know, a few hundred years ago, black people were treated as slaves, less than human beings. And since that time, we have only come to what we call a second class citizen. In other words, we're still being brutalized by human beings. And other people in other parts of the world are going through similar changes, maybe not for color of skin, but for some other reason. Could be gender. The truth of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is that we find all kinds of reasons. Here in America, we say it's black, white. We say it's political, politics, conservative Republicans and Democrats, liberal. We say far left and far right. We have all kinds of excuses, and what those excuses do, ladies and gentlemen, they represent our heads. Our heads. We are different individuals. We require different things to satisfy us. There are certain things that are common amongst us all, but there are other things that are unique that are required to give us satisfaction. The number one things are survival. Those are the number one things they got to be concerned about. And I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, black or white, male or female. Those things got to be done. And any people that are out of the mindset of animals and barbarics can see that. And that will be their number one concern, knowing that if one person is denied these, then all of them can be denied, if for no other reason than the reason that the one was denied. And so it is, any sensible human being would know that. And so what I'm speaking to you about, ladies and gentlemen, is about that concern being met by every American citizen. Every American citizen. And that starts with every American citizen having, you're familiar with the draft. Becoming 18 years old, you get registered for the draft. If some war, something break out, Uncle Sam can call you in, and here we are, Uncle Sam, ready to defend our country. But right now, it's ready to change our country, make our country something that we can be proud of. Registering, because what we're going to do is every individual must have a job, must have a career, must have a career. So as you're growing up, you can prepare yourself. What kind of career you want? What is the thing that you want to do? Whatever you want to do, that's what you can choose to do. Now, qualifications for your career. Anything that you need to qualify you. Basically, what we're referring to is education. Education unlimited and unrestricted. Whatever you choose to do, education is there to assist you, to aid you to be good at whatever it is you do. That is what we, the people, determine is a righteous thing to do. A righteous thing to do. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, with the whole point of this is to be able to fill every job requirement that meets what we, the people, have determined are essential for our needs and our wants. Everybody open to choose what out of these that you want, or create something new. Motivation. Look, ladies and gentlemen, it is you, the people, making these choices. It is you, the people, who are using the resources. All the resources of this earth came from a power we can't see. It didn't come from Shell. It didn't come from Standard. It didn't come from VP. It didn't come from anywhere but that power that brought us here. And what is it for? To be used for whatever we want it to be used for, not what somebody else decide, or whatever we decide as a people, as human beings, whatever we decide. Remember this, whatever we decide. And by so doing, we create an abundance of the goods and services that we, the people, have determined are essential for us of ours. So none of us will be out of any of that. And that first class all the way. That's what we do. And as far as meeting our individual specific needs that gives us our joy and pleasure, that motivates and stuff. Everybody wants to do that. And as the requirements for the services from humans are there, in other words, to make, without going into that, the same as we make these things work for our survival, that's the way we make things work for your specialties, okay? Now, I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I call God. I'm not going to say this is a democratic perspective. It's not. It's not my perspective. I agree with it. But it's so good till I have to call it God. I have to call it a power outside of me that is causing this manifestation in me. So I can stand before you who can't see it at all. So you know what I'm talking about. We, the American people and people of the earth, have been so brainwashed and so stupid that we could never believe anything like this. When I ran for president the first time in the 80s, I came out like this, talking to you just like this about, look at how many years ago that have been. Talking to you about all of your needs being met. I was hoping that you, the American people, especially those people who go to church all the time, I was expecting you to jump on this thing just like you jumped on that line Donald Trump. But you totally resisted it. Everybody resisted it. Not you, just the public, the media, the print, the radio, the television. Everybody resisted it. They were so afraid of God, so afraid of God. And so when the devil came along, can you imagine? The devil came along and offered you the total difference, the opposite of what God offered you. And you jumped on him. You couldn't take the camera from around him. And today, you still cannot take the camera from around him. Today, that evil voice is still out there walking throughout America, lifting up people every day, talking about this hatred and all this racism and stuff, and lying and talking about canceling and stuff, and got people all over the country changing rules and regulations to act just like, years ago, Elijah Muhammad used to call that the actions of devils. And since the people who acted like that had power and were white, he called white people devils. Now, in my Christian experience, we were taught that there were no devils because of color. It might be devils because of action. So a lot of us just couldn't just actually call white people devils, but we could call the action of white people devilish. And that is what is happening today. The actions of white people today is devilish. Does that mean all white people are acting like that? No, it does not. Does it mean that the people that are not, white people that are not acting like that, are doing everything they possibly can to change things so the other white people won't act like that? I say it like this. Is anything changing? So that means whatever they're doing, it ain't good enough. That's what it means when you say good people, just good people alone doing their thing, is all that other evil stuff need to keep on going. That good ain't good enough. And so what am I saying? I'm saying that when we represent God, God is for all of us, not some of us. God is for all of us, not some of us. The devil is for some of y'all. I'll include me too. He's for me too. But I ain't going that way. So it includes you too. And you got to make the same decision. Are you going to go that way continuously or not? But going over there, got to, where your resources, God's resources that have been given to all of us, have been concocted under some system set up that permitted certain people to own stuff. To really own the resources that God gave. Own it. Sell it. Who got the money? Then you got people having to work for money. Ain't got nothing to do with what you came on the earth to do. You just live in the slave mentality, get old and crumble up and useless and just here waiting to pass on. This is crazy. I implore you, people of the world, wake up and live. Trust in God And anything that's speaking for some is not of God. And if you give support to it, you are working against God. That's okay. You're going to lose. But when I say lose, that means the light is going to shine even in spite of what you're doing. And you are going to see, and you're going to come over and be a part of that which is free. I guarantee it. Love is just like that. Putin, look how far he's gone. And American people want that in the White House. Many of them are saying, give us Putin and get rid of that Biden, that Democrat. Now, that has nothing to do with democracy. That has nothing to do with dictatorship. That has to do with evil. That is the devil speaking, the straight up devil. Now, you can look at me, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear me speaking, most of the time when I'm talking about stuff that involves you and the state and the people, I'm talking from a perspective that God has shown me. Now, I got my own perspective when I'm thinking. But I want you to know that when you're talking about this world out here, the American way, that is the way of the devil. The devil. Why is it the way of the devil? Because of look what it's doing. Throwing away books. Doing things to destroy stuff. Trying to pretend. Trying to act like that they're something that they are not. This is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Pretending. This is why Putin, evil. Evil allows you to pretend so you can trick yourself. Oh, I'm good. Pretend here. Evil allows you to pretend yourself like you in love. Oh, we're in love, and you get married. Evil just, for some old strange reason, got y'all hooked up. Now all of a sudden you start finding out, what the heck have I done? What the heck have I done? Now you start hating each other, all because you were dealing with lies and fantasies and not the truth. You had one reason or another. Let me give you an example of something before I go, ladies and gentlemen. I was thinking about how this evil voice, this devilish voice, wants to inject itself into the decision of women and abortion. They just want to make sure that they have their way and control a woman, so their voice determines what's going to happen. The baby comes out. Baby comes out, then they want to take all hands off. All the other responsibilities, they want to leave that alone. God got that taken care of. And then the other thing that shows you of this evil that's behind this man trying to run women's body is because they're saying now no abortion in certain places. And if you do engage yourself in the process, we are going to find you this. We're going to do this, punish you this, and all that. See, here again is man trying to force you, trying to force human beings to fall in line to their will. Force them. It's the same thing as beating them with billy clubs. It's the same thing as putting dogs on them. It's the same thing as spraying them with hoses. It's the same thing as hanging them. It's the same thing as cutting their arms and cutting their necks off, trying to force people to do something. That's the way of the devil. God doesn't force you. It takes time for you to wake up. It takes time for the scales, many of you, to fall from your eyes before you can see. But as long as you're there, you got the opportunity for the scales to fall. And one day you will see. And when you see, it's all free. But when you're being beat down, you're not seeing anything. The same thing that started it. So if you're going to start talking about having babies and stuff like this, what would be the godly way? The godly way is not to force people. But if there is a problem, discover what it is specifically to individuals. So you got to understand, if a 16-year-old gets pregnant, you say she shouldn't have been doing anything, but she was capable of doing something, and she did something with a partner, and now she's pregnant. Can she have the baby? I mean, will that baby actually can it be birthed through that body? It can be birthed through that body. So God has prepared that could happen. She got to go through the same thing an older woman got to go through, but she's prepared to do that. Now, what is our duty? Our duty is to, if this is what has happened, it has happened. But our duty is to make sure when that baby is born and when that baby comes into this world, that mother and that baby got nothing to suffer for. That mother would be there for that baby, available for that baby, to aid, to guide, and to do for this baby the same thing that any mother could do for a baby. And that also means that the mother still have available to her all of the things that's and have always been available to young people: going to school, engaging in your career ambitions, and preparing yourself. That doesn't stop. This here aids. We're there to help people and to give people the access. So when, if it ever happens, if it's something that they don't want to happen, then they're motivated by something else, not fear. They're motivated by something else not to engage or to protect themselves from this. And if it happens, there's no shame in the game. No shame in the game because they are loved like never. They can't beat the love that's coming from a lover of God. And this is what we want to do. We want to change things. Stop this force. Because when you got to force somebody to do something, that means something else is happening. Something else is happening to the degree that they are saying, to hell with this force, I'm going to do this anyway. And so when the force comes, it's just a consequence of whatever somebody else started. Usually the one who's bringing the force started it and don't want to stop it. So I'm saying to all of us, ladies and gentlemen, from here on while I'm alive, let us change this narrative from right and left and white and black and politics. Let's change it from God to the devil. If it's for life and love, it's God. If it's anti that, it's the devil. And I'm saying to you, America, right now, you have an opportunity to choose God to be in control of the United States of America. And from here on, you don't have to wait till the election. You got the power to change things and start moving in that direction right now. Because right now, you can bet your last money, the devil is working full speed. The devil is working full speed in America right now. The devil is working full speed in America right now. So you better get busy and start lifting up God so the world can see that God ain't afraid of no devil. Thank you.